Episode 401. Mark?
Okay. First things first, tell me why you and your team decided to go to Israel.
Gosh, why Israel? I think it's a very misunderstood country. Whenever you chat with somebody about Israel, they immediately think of camels, desert, and conflict and war. Some of the best technologies that we use in the world have come out of Israel. So I felt compelled to share Israel for the real Israel. Israel really embraces its culture.
Being Israeli, we hear it with history, and that's part of culture. But something that I learned in the US is you need to know what Caddyshack is, an animal house, to really understand culture.
I'm in Caesarea, a city in Israel, and I'm with Harel Gadot, who is, one, a dear friend of mine, and an incredibly successful businessman in Israel and the United States. What I do love about the Israeli culture is you must serve in the military. That's an impact, isn't it?
Absolutely. I went to school in the US. I live in the US now, and I believe that contributes a lot to the maturity, the innovation, the challenging the status quo in Israel.
You've made that transition that a lot of Israelis continue to struggle with, because you have a successful leg in Israel, and then you've got a successful leg in the US. And the Israelis drive so hard, and then the US, they don't try and understand the mindset and the intention here.
Israel is really great in innovation, in starting something. Not so great in really understanding how to build it as an organization or corporation. And I was very lucky to work for a successful company like Johnson & Johnson in the US and learn that. And that's what I was trying to bring to the plate. I will try to add value and understanding how to close that gap, how not to step on somebody's toes, but to leverage what they can bring to the table and take it to the next step. That's very different than just pushing it forward without understanding what's behind it.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for both cultures and both ecosystems to embrace.
Absolutely.
And Joe, we're gonna go back outside a little more. So I'm at 23 now.
We are here at the MedX Accelerator, and then I want to share with the world, what does an incubator do?
And what Incubator does, at least what we're doing, is really taking a very early stage idea that can be just in the head of the engineer or the physician, or a simple drawing on a napkin. And you actually support the company during its incubation period, or you're supporting the baby from just crawling to standing on its own 2 feet, and eventually reaching meaningful milestones, executing flawlessly, fail fast, or succeed big. And this is why MedX is very unique. You won't find it with a VC, and you won't find it with a venture capital. We don't just give them $10 for the kid and say, now you're 18-year-old, good luck in this world. No, we actually, they're with them. Once they graduate from the incubator, if there are any resources, people that we can still follow, and not just on the board, on the daily operations, then we will ensure there are babies, there are companies, and graduating from the incubator, that's not the ultimate goal. Becoming a company that can grow, maybe get to an exit or start selling the product, that's our goal, that's our claim for fame.
Thanks.
Doesn't it flies off and then it comes?
So when I want to find out what's actually going on within the incubator, that's where Shai comes in.
MedX Lab, take one, Mark.
So this is a program managed by the Israeli Innovation Authority. So the way they do it, they provide a grant to supplement 85% of an investment. So out of a $750,000, the government actually provides around $600,000. We provide the rest, $150,000. We will usually not take on a project that will have a potential market of less than $200, $300 million.
Go big or go home. And where are we right now?
So we are now in the lab. You can see very different things happening here.
And these all represent different technologies or projects, if you will, that we're incubating right now.
Exactly,
and deciding.
exactly.
Can you show some of these to me?
Yes, this is Ilan, the CEO of CAPS
How are you?
Medical.
Good to
meet you.
And CAPS Medical develops a solution for treating cancer. Sometimes tumors will be inoperable because in order to take them out, you'll have to destroy too much healthy tissue, and then the life expectancy of the patient will strongly depend on how much healthy tissue is preserved. And CAPS allows you to really address just the tumor, avoiding the damage.
Any collateral damage to the other healthy tissue.
Exactly. This is the holy grail of cancer treatment. Selective ablation, where you can kill using helium gas going through very high voltage potential.
What can you show us?
So we have a catheter. We're able to generate the plasma, which is extreme high energized gas, which is at room temperature, so you can freely apply it on the body. We don't generate any heat or cold.
So no
So
energy.
we cause no damage whatsoever to healthy tissue. And the next thing we see is that the cancer cells will die, the tumor will disappear, while the healthy tissue around it remains untouched.
So that can differentiate whether it's good or bad tissue.
Exactly.
And you're delivering all that energy coming out of this box.
Exactly.
And this company, reached us in a very conceptual stage just 9 months ago. This box was not here. This probe was not here. There was a very rough prototype developed in academia. All of that was done in 9 months, and in less than half of the 750,000 that we discussed before.
What would I expect to happen over the next 6 months with that product?
So he's accelerating his burn rate towards a first clinical trial that he will do next year. Once we get clinical data under our belt, this can change the way cancer is treated.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I see something else?
Yes. Okay, and now we get to Endoways, and Noam Sharma is the entrepreneur.
Hi.
How are
Nice
you?
meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Great. So, Endoways is developing a robotic microcatheter, which is aiming to help physicians get into the treatment zone remotely. Any procedure that you need to do today is involving navigation. You need to get to the place, and we can expand procedures for each indication hugely. I mean, there are failures, of course, and those failures are mostly related with access. So if you can access the case, you just can't do anything. The fact that it can go further than any other catheter, I mean, other catheters eventually stop moving forward. So
Because of the route they're getting through
yeah,
here.
the roots are too complex. If you see this,
So as an example, if I was trying to navigate through here,
Yeah.
and this had a geometry that was somewhat complex, and typically the deeper I go into the geometry, the more complex it gets.
Exactly.
It gets smaller and a smaller diameter. You're saying that I can Game Boy this in a much more effective fashion.
Exactly. You are getting much better navigation, much easier navigation, easier for young physicians to learn.
And where did this technology come from?
From Noam.
So literally he came and said, I've got a device. I mean, how did that happen?
So Noam approached us. I think he had a catheter moving in a silicon tube with a toothbrush engine. I mean, Noam is the kind of guy that he doesn't need help in technology, right? We offer, but usually he comes up with much better ideas than ours. But we are supporting him in all the logistical stuff around that is required to run the
So you're
project.
letting him be a genius, and then you're surrounding him with the infrastructure of the incubator, accelerator.
Exactly.
Right? You can look at technology a few ways. Historically, it's been a craft, the feel by the surgeon. But when you can take that and now make it into a Game Boy and put it in the hands of a brand new surgeon with the same knowledge maybe that a surgeon of 20 years has, that becomes game-changing. And so finally, before we close out, like a proud papa, do you have any favorite children?
Oh, I love everybody. I like everybody, but sometimes you have to be kind of tough, tough love that says, well, this project cannot continue as it is because there's something that doesn't work, and you have to really not get emotionally in touch and otherwise you cannot make the right decisions.
So do these teammates ever wonder when that door opens? Is today the day? I've only been on the ground for about 48 hours, and I can already tell, just by the pull of the people, the culture, and the tech, that this is going to be a hell of a ride. Next time on True Future, Israel.
Oh, we chose a pretty cinematic.
You can't ask for better than
visuals, right?
The robotics industry in Israel is incredibly robust.
We have no other choice.